Today we are going to be playing Cool Shootout. And I've been playing this out with, but when I wasn't making videos, but I'm back. I haven't been posting because I ain't gonna talk. Because we ain't gonna talk about that. I haven't been posting because we ain't gonna talk about that. Right?
Flipped backwards, dumping him headfirst into the trunk, and then he got stuck upside down on top of that third row, caught his chest, pressed it up against the back hatch of the van. He used Siri to call 911, but the dispatcher couldn't really understand what Kyle was saying. The dispatcher wrongly labeled this call as unknown. The club members watched one of Franz's dummy experiments. 2004, they decided, let's go spend Christmas in Thailand. The day after Christmas, the couple woke up and decided to head down to the beach to spend the day lounging on the sand. But as soon as they stepped out of their villa and looked down at the beach, they saw this huge crowd of people standing on the sand. John and Jackie knew immediately why they went down. It was an extremely low tide. The water had receded so far that it was a spectacle. And so they had their digital camera with them, and they just started taking pictures. What John and Jackie and the people down on the beach not to have realized is that extreme low tide is actually an early indication of a tsunami tidal wave that looks like no one has any idea what's about to happen. And so John and Jackie can... So Brendan tries to put her on his shoulders and starts walking with her. They're passing by at some point as the search party moved farther and farther down. Next day, Luana was found in her apartment when the authorities...
I can't go back.
2009, a 31-year-old fisherman named Island decided he wanted some fruit. He had always been tantalized by the sugar apple trees that were inside of the fenced-off section of Komodo Island. And so he goes over to the fence, and so after looking around and feeling like the coast was clear, he hopped the fence and he ran apple tree. Mohammed's neighbor, Teresa Tawa, was outside and happened to look over at Mohammed right as he hopped the fence into the food section. And she's watching him, hoping that he just gets the apples and comes back without incident. As she's watching, she sees he's reaching out, extending his arm just far up. Once he got one more apple, he his footing, and he falls to the ground. And so she's just looking anxiously, hoping he stands up soon. And then she hears the sound of two Komodo dragons running through the tall grass and grunting at full speed towards Mohammed. Mohammed, when he fell, he had cut himself, and they smelled his food, and they charged him. Teresa could only scream and yell for help as these two Komodo dragons ate. 2009. So finally, Dee relented, and she told him she was going to see the shaman. A shaman is someone who uses magic to cure the sick. The driver did think it was odd that this girl was going to see the shaman at night, but she was also secret about it. After he got the wild cat, he was not. 19-year-old Harley Dilly was furious with his parents. The night before, he had gotten into a huge fight with them, and as punishment, they had confiscated his phone. That afternoon, Harley did not come home. Weeks went by, nobody knew where he was. Almost a month after he had gone missing, the police received a tip. The house across the street from Harley's house was a vacant home. One of their cameras picked up Harley walking towards their property. The police go upstairs, and in one of the bedrooms, they look up on the wall, and pretty high up, there's a hole in the wall, and they realize this is a vent. So one of the officers climb on top, and they reach in to feel around for more evidence, and as soon as they reach in, they touch something, and it would turn out the person inside of there was Harley, and he was deceased. The leading theory is he climbed onto the roof of this vacant home on the day he went missing.
I'm on demon time.
And from his perspective,
I can't go out like this. Mama, ooh.
He went in feet first, and he began making his way stuck. His arms are stuck over his head, and his feet are dangling off the ground, and that is how he would say until he suffocated. 14-year boss would respond and say,
say gang.
Take pictures of all.
Say gang.
She was about 20 feet ahead of him when he decided to turn around.
Of course he gonna click.
Photograph the beautiful view. And he said he was looking at the view for about 40 seconds.
I'm not on demon time no more. I'm not on demon time.
Heard her call out for help, heard her fall. There was no sound of other people. There was no sound of other animals. There was no sound of any struggle whatsoever.
I'm on demon time.
Panicking, he ran right back up the trail, all the way back up to the Bear Creek Overlook, hoping that along the way he would see some indication of where she went. But again, there was nothing on the trail. Over the next 48 hours, a huge search was launched all around this area for Barbara, including helicopters, huge search teams, and highly trained sniffing dogs, but nothing was found. And so unfortunately, her family had to face the awful reality of She was about 20. The soldier very reluctantly walks up to Johan, hands him
What
the
the
note,
heck?
and apologizes for the interruption. He takes the note and he
Game
looks at
switch.
it. Revolution.
Now I'm in
America would
Wisey.
still be a British colony. The soldier very reluctantly walks up
I've
to
been
Johan,
playing this
hands him
game.
the note, and
Okay.
apologizes for the interruption. He takes the note and he looks at it and he can see that it's in English. And like the soldier who's brought it to him, Johan could not.
Oh, let's go to our weapons. I got them. I got them. I got that. I got them.
In 1997, 41-year-old graduate student Emily Schwalik was swimming in the recreational side of Lake Berryessa. She decided she wanted to have a closer look at the spillway, which at the time, because the water levels had risen, water was pouring down into the spillway. But what ended up happening is, as she got closer and closer to the edge, the current picked up so dramatically that it began pulling her. In the winter of 1986, when Oksana was only 3 years old, in a drunken stupor, her parents forgot about her outside in the cold of winter. Instinctively, so while his fellow sheep were marching down to get their wool cut, Shrek secretly walked to the back of the pen, snuck out the back gate, and ran away up over the hillside without anybody noticing. And when he was finally out of sight of the farm, he just kept on running until he found this cave high up on this mountainside that he could hide inside of. At first, the farmer didn't even, based on the way he presented to them, being pale in the face and hunched over and very sick looking, they assumed that it must be something very serious. That day, they brought Mr. Sorkin in for an examination, and after talking to him and hearing about all the symptoms and just looking at him, the assumption was he probably has a tumor in his lung. And so they sent him in for an x-ray, and afterwards the radiologist looked at the x-ray and confirmed that, yep, there is a mass growing
You
inside
got
the
knocked
lungs.
out.
They told him that they would like to do a biopsy, where they remove a small piece of the tissue and test it to see if it's cancerous or not. And so Mr. Sorkin
What
is
I
terrified.
do?
He says, okay, he schedules his surgery. He goes in a couple days later, and the surgeon pulls out a piece of his lung tissue. He looks down at the tissue, the surgeon does. Then he realizes there's something hidden inside of the tissue, as if the tissue was like an envelope holding something inside of it. And so he opened it up, and there, growing on the side of his lung, was a small fir tree. It was 5 centimeters long. It was green. It looked very lively. It was just a thriving root. Based on the way he presented.
And he's on control.
Began looking more closely at David.
I'm on fire. It's not fear.
Began looking more closely at David Dixon, and they dug all the way to the back of his military file. They discovered he had gotten in trouble for stealing another soldier's white Reebok sneakers, the exact type of shoe.
No.
Days later, Dylan's body was found in an area nobody was searching. In fact, he was found by accident.
I
He was
saw a
located outside of
victim.
town, high up a hill, in a
Just to
dense
see
forest,
you
which,
cry.
in order to get there, he would have had to walk the opposite direction of
Even
the
though
gas
I'm
station.
happy.
The case gets even stranger,
But
because
nobody
on the day
knows
there was a lot
why.
of snow on the ground, which meant
Nobody knows why.
man turns on his camera,
Why I have the
lights and
trap.
starts
Ooh, I'm
filming. As he's
laggy.
filming, he begins walking down this narrow
I'm so
corridor,
laggy.
and at some point, he aims
I can literally
But
go
when they
back
opened
here and
the
walk
trunk
right
of the
off.
car, they made a grisly discovery. Inside were 2 very badly burned bodies. Using dental records, they were able to confirm that the bodies belonged to Carol and Selena, but there was no sign.
Oh my god, I hate this man.
Janice worked, her cell phone kept buzzing. Sunday had been Snapchatting her photos of still holding Deanna, turned around to face the water and kind of carried Deanna right to the edge.
Probably know I'm making a
Virginia took
video.
one more picture of them
We
facing
see.
the water, and then right after that picture was taken, BJ took Deanna and threw her off the cliff.
I don't have auto
Whipped
shooter.
herself around and managed to grab onto the cliff with her hands. And so she's literally dangling, holding onto this ledge like in the movies. Virginia and BJ, instead of helping her back up, picked up rocks and bashed
Yes,
her
I got the
hands
sniper on
until
my
she fell off
team.
the cliff. Ultimately, these last 2 pictures that Virginia took that got her and
I don't have
Deanna, because these pictures clearly showed Deanna was
Game
impaired
switch.
compared